direct messages on Instagram are one of the few ways you can actually add people to retargeting audiences on Instagram. So we can't retarget for Facebook ads or Instagram ads based on Instagram story views or IGTV views. That's not available yet, but you can retarget from Instagram engagement, and those Instagram engagement points that Instagram is using to create that audience are likes, comments, saves, shares, and direct messages. So that's how someone can get in your DMs once, and then through the magic of technology and Mark Zuckerberg, you can start showing up in their newsfeed or in their Instagram stories with advertisement switches.
Welcome to episode 245 of the industry's leading business podcast for fitness owners and managers. This month's interviews are brought to you by our podcast partner, One Fit Stop. One Fit Stop provides scheduling, client management, programming, and payment collection tools that will set your business up for success. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com or click on the link in today's show notes. Welcome, friends. I am so excited to share today's episode with you all. And that's because my special guest this week is Instagram and social media marketer, Tyler J. McCall. Tyler is an Instagram expert, and he teaches people how to use Instagram with the intention to grow their community online and grow their business. He focuses on using Instagram and social media to tell stories, build relationships, and convert followers to fans, drawing from his 10 years of experience in nonprofit marketing, management, and community organizing. Being as though Instagram is such a hot platform and super popular with fitness facilities and fitness professionals alike, we thought it was the perfect opportunity to get Tyler's expert advice. So here's what you'll hear in this week's show. I asked Tyler where we should invest our time, stories or posts. We chat about how to turn followers into customers, and Tyler shares his top 3 steps to overhauling your Instagram strategy. We're about to get started, but first a big thank you to this month's premier podcast partner. One Fit Stop's scheduling, client management, programming, and payment collection tools will set your business up for success. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com. Enjoy this week's show with my special guest, Tyler J. McCall. Tyler, a super warm welcome. I am so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Now, I let you in on a little secret during the pre-call Quickfire 5, and that is that Instagram is my favorite platform, and anyone that knows me knows that. And I've got to say that when I think about Instagram, especially compared to the other platforms, I always feel like it's a very personal place. It's somewhere where I feel very comfortable sharing things, and I feel like I get an insight into other people's lives. But if we look at this from a business perspective, in your expert opinion, Tyler, should a gym be on Instagram as their brand, or should their staff be on Instagram, or should they both be on there?
Oh, such a good question. I think this is a yes and kind of question. I think that the business, the brand itself really needs a presence on the platform. I think brands have their own unique personality, and whether you realize it or not, whether you're consciously doing the work of developing that personality or you're just kind of letting that personality happen naturally or by accident even, brands have their own personalities. And I really think there's a space on Instagram for the gym, the fitness center, the studio as a brand itself to exist. And at the same time, I think there's something really special to having presences on, and then Instagram in particular, because like you said, it is such a personal platform where either the staff or the team or the instructors or the owner, whoever that may be, can build a presence for themselves as well that can feed folks over to the gym and feed folks from the gym over to theirs and kind of create this whole fun little Instagram domination strategy. So I think there's definitely a place for both to exist.
I like the sound of that, an Instagram domination strategy. We're going to be talking a little more about strategy shortly, but one of the things that always, occurs to me is whether or not we should be focusing on stories, Instagram stories, which I love, or should we be focusing on posts? What's your opinion on that?
So I think the first thing to realize is that they both serve very distinct purposes. And we can talk about that. I think the other thing to consider is that a majority of Instagram's daily active users now are using Instagram stories as really one of the first places they check and engage with on the platform. I think even some of them are probably using stories as really the only place where they create and consume content now. But they have different purposes. I think the feed has really become a place where people are discovering you and where they're making those follow decisions. And they're either making an initial follow decision because they are learning about you for the very first time. They've either seen an advertisement that you've put out. They've found you because you found them first. Maybe you were going out and engaging and you found them and liked or commented on some of their posts, or someone shared your content with them. And they're coming back and they're making that follow decision. They're deciding whether or not they want to allow you to speak into their life. And at the same time, your followers are consistently making those follow decisions every time you show up in their feed, and they're deciding, you know what, this content's no longer serving me, or you know what, I want to keep following them. So I think that's what the feed does. Instagram stories, on the other hand, have really become the place where we can nurture those relationships and connect with our followers in a way that we've never been able to connect before. And that's why I love stories so much. Stories are the gateway to direct messages. Direct messages are one of the best, most effective places to sell on social media, Instagram direct messages in particular. So I think they serve really distinct purposes, and I think people need to use both and make sure they're using them the way that they were designed to be used.
I want to talk some more about that gateway to direct messages, because I did hear you speak about that only recently, and I think that's an area we need to tap into. But before we go there, I noticed recently, just talking about the posts and our profiles and people getting to know us, I noticed recently that Instagram changed the way that our profiles are laid out. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so they're doing lots of different tests right now to just try and better understand the user experience, I think, and what people want on the platform. So one of those changes has been there's actually 3 profile variations that they're currently testing in different countries with different users. I think what Instagram is saying is they really want us as users to understand that they are prioritizing relationships and connection on the platform more than anything else. So what that looks like in some of these profile designs that they're testing, they've deprioritized follow count and follower count. And instead, they've shifted some things around. So now you can get a really quick glimpse of mutual followers, or if you come to a profile that you're not currently following, you can better understand who they follow and who that you follow follows them as well. So you can really start making those connections more quickly, and also really getting away from obsessing over likes and comments and follows. One thing that they're doing right now at the time of recording this episode is they're currently testing the elimination of like count for viewers in Canada. So right now, if you are in Canada and you're using Instagram, then whenever you log in, you're seeing that your post and the post of others, that it's been liked by maybe a couple of names, but you're not seeing the total like count. From your own account, you can go in and you can look at those numbers from an insights perspective just to have that data. But the vanity metrics of it has been completely eliminated. So I think they're just trying to test and better understand how to create a great user experience, how to reinforce that it's all about connection and relationships. It's not about those vanity metrics. And the new profile design is part of that.
Wow, that is absolutely fascinating to hear. I had no idea about the variation in those rollouts and really about how they've changed what you can view as far as likes go. I noticed on my own profile that they had decreased the font size and the attention on followers, but I hadn't heard about that trial in Canada, so that's very interesting. So I guess it's stay tuned and see what happens from here.
Yeah, and there's even talks in the EU of EU countries passing some legislation and guidance for social media platforms that would actually remove the like function for users under the age of 18, because there's been research that shows that the number of likes people are getting, in particular folks under the age of 18, is really impacting their self-worth and all of those things. So I think it's an interesting time to be on social media. I think if anything, it opens up a really great opportunity for us as business owners and brands to have conversations about not obsessing over those vanity metrics and instead having conversations about what is important for us on the platform. And for a lot of us as businesses, that means we need to focus more on conversations, on connections, and on converting those followers to customers. And then forget about the likes and follows, right? Because that doesn't matter nearly as much as the fact as your ability to actually convert someone from following you on social media to purchasing a membership to come to your facility, or signing up for a class, or downloading a free trial, whatever that may be. I think that's much more important than how many likes and follows and comments you're getting.
So let's talk about that, Tyler, because I know that a lot of the FBP family that are listening today are probably in that stage where they're thinking, okay, yeah, I've got a decent number of people that I'm interacting with, but how do I take them from being a follower to actually signing up at my facility, or as you say, maybe joining an online personal trainer, joining a gym, whatever the case may be? What are the steps that we need to start taking to take a follower and turn them into a customer?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is to work a little bit backwards and to do something that I think a lot of people get on Instagram without considering, and that is to get really clear on who your ideal follower is. And a lot of your listeners, they may have done some work in the past around creating their ideal buyer or an ideal client avatar, whatever that may be. And those are really helpful tools for doing this, but not just creating that as a beautiful PDF document that you say, okay, our ideal customer, our ideal member, whatever that may be, is X, Y, and Z. But then taking that and applying that to Instagram. So first of all, knowing that you only want people following you who are your ideal follower, and being really okay with that. And that may mean that you have less followers than you do right now. That may mean that you have to block some people who are following you who aren't your ideal follower. That may mean you have to go through and clean out your spam followers or bot followers. That may mean you need to kind of fall on your sword and take ownership for buying those 50 or 500 or 5,000 followers that you bought a couple of years ago if you did that, right? And get rid of those. So that's the first thing. Get really clear on who you want as an ideal follower. The next thing is get really specific about the content you are creating for that person. So knowing that most of your content is going to simply need to shift their belief, change their mind, give them a new idea, or give them some identity that they want to try and aspire to, or something that they want to be, or something they want to achieve, and then show them that that thing is not only possible for anyone, but it's possible in particular for them. So then it really comes to the content strategy, getting really specific on the content you're creating for these people that is reinforcing these identities and shifting their beliefs and changing their ideas, and also helping them understand that you are the person, your facility, you as the instructor, you as the trainer, whatever that may be. You are the person, your facility is the place for them, that they belong there. And what that means is that you have to get really okay with not only attracting those people, but also really okay with repelling people. And I think a lot of people are on Instagram in particular, and they're very fearful of turning people off because they want to try and please everyone. But your business is not going to get further if you keep trying to serve anyone and everyone. So be okay with turning people off. Be okay with repelling people. Be okay with someone seeing your content, seeing your post, watching your story, and saying, oh, you know what? She's not for me. He's not for me. That place is not for me. That is completely okay, because that means it's going to be even easier for you to find the people who say that you are for them, or your facility is the right fit for them. And then creating content that's in line with that. And then the next piece is showing up consistently on stories and building in lots of calls to action on your stories, and knowing that it's going to take some time. We have to train our audiences. Social media is all about habits. And your job as a content creator, as a marketer on Instagram, is to understand your followers' habits and then better understand how you can either intercept those habits or build new habits for them. So we take our students through this whole process in the community I run called the Follower to Fan Society. And we take them through this whole process of what we call engagement habit building, and knowing that if you wanted to get your follower to direct message you, to sign up for your services, or to join your facility, that if you went on Instagram right now and just did a story and said, hey, if you want to sign up, send me a direct message, you may get some crickets. So how do we make that more effective? Well, we work over time, knowing this takes weeks, sometimes months, of creating content that is focused on gaining engagement and starting conversations with our followers. And we start really simple with just getting them to engage with the poll on our Instagram story, either the slider poll or the 2-option poll that you can add as a sticker on your story, getting them to engage there for a little while, and then adding in new features like the question box or the quiz box that's brand new and getting them to engage with that. And once you get them used to tapping on the screen and engaging with you, then you can start creating content that has direct message as the call to action. And the last part of this is knowing once someone is in our direct messages, then that opens up so many opportunities for conversations, for consultation calls, for inviting them in for a visit, for giving them a pass to come check out a class, whatever that may be, and continuing those conversations with people. And it really goes back to just think if someone were to walk in your facility off the street, what would that conversation look like for you? What questions would you ask them, and how would you really kind of suss out whether or not they're a good fit for what you do in your facility or in your programming? Having those same conversations on Instagram.
Tyler, I find that word conversation so interesting because just to give you a little bit of background, we had Amanda Bond on the show a couple of months ago, the amazing and slightly crazy and exciting Amanda Bond.
I love that woman.
She's incredible. And you know, our whole conversation was around having conversations with Facebook followers and how important that was as, I guess, a foundation. So as I have to tell you, last week I had the author Mark Schaefer on the show, and he said exactly the same thing. So I'm hearing this consistency is in this world of technology and automation and everything that we have at our fingertips. All of this keeps coming back to just getting to know another person, getting to learn, like you say, what our customers want, adapting and creating our content to serve them specifically, and just opening up the conversation lines. I think that is so interesting in 2019 that's what it comes back to.
Yeah, it all comes back to that. And one thing, too, I'll tell you that I recently learned from Amanda Bond. I got to meet her and sit in on a talk she gave at Social Media Marketing World, which was incredible, is that direct messages on Instagram are one of the few ways you can actually add people to retargeting audiences on Instagram. So we can't retarget for Facebook ads or Instagram ads based on Instagram story views or IGTV views. That's not available yet, but you can retarget from Instagram engagement, and those Instagram engagement points that Instagram is using to create that audience are likes, comments, saves, shares, and direct messages. So that's how someone can get in your DMs once, and then through the magic of technology and Mark Zuckerberg, you can start showing up in their newsfeed or in their Instagram stories with advertisements, which is incredible as well.
Okay. I'm going to get you to break this right down for us, because if there's anyone else that's listening and kind of went, wow, that sounds amazing, but I didn't quite get it, which is what's in my head. I'm just being honest. So what you're saying is someone slides into your DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
How do I then use that? How do I access that to retarget?
Yes. Yeah, of course. So you would do this through Facebook, through Ads Manager, and you would build out a custom audience for Instagram engagement. So you can build out all different types of custom audiences. You know, you can upload your email list, you can do lookalike audiences, you can do all these different things. But one audience you can create is Instagram engagement. And I don't know exactly because we have an Ads Manager on our team who really builds this out, but I think you can even create those audiences based on time. So say 60 days or 180 days, people who have engaged. And for Instagram, whenever someone direct messages you, then that person is added into that Instagram engagement custom audience. And then whatever ads you set up through Facebook, you can have those ads delivered to people inside that Instagram engagement custom audience. So say, for example, you have an ad that is going to a free trial or to try a class or book a free consultation. Then once someone direct messages you and they go into that custom audience, they could start seeing that ad within minutes or hours. And then you're going to start following them around on Instagram or start following them around on Facebook.
That's amazing. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that extra little nugget with us. Now I understand exactly what you're talking about. That is very cool. Thank you, Tyler. Okay, so one of the things that we use for the podcast is we use a scheduling tool to schedule our social media posts, and that helps us automate and mean that, you know, obviously things are happening in the background. Is there anything else, or are there any tips or tricks that you can share with us on how we can actually spend less time on Instagram but still get the same or even better results?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the first thing is not just using a scheduling tool, but actually having a scheduling and posting plan and strategy in place.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially folks who are doing, who have lots of irons in the fire, who have a lot going on. Instagram becomes this thing that is kind of either forgotten or left off, or it's the side of their plate, and they get caught up in what I call "oh shoot" posting, where, and I'm sure we're both guilty of this. I know I am, where you open up Instagram and you look at your feed and you go, "oh shoot," or some other expletive that you may say in your life, and you say, "oh shoot, I haven't posted in a day or a week or a month," right? Like all that time goes by. And what happens when you have that moment of that, you go into this moment of panic and you either just don't post because you're like, well, it's been too long, or I don't know what to say. Or the even worse thing you can do is you throw together a post that is not serving your audience and that's not serving your business. So you find a quick photo, you write a caption, it's sloppy, it doesn't actually move the needle, it doesn't sell, it doesn't promote, it doesn't shift a belief, it doesn't do anything. It's just content to create content. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there are people who spend hours, a week or a month even, creating the content, trying to have the perfect photo, writing the perfect caption, agonizing over how to get the line breaks right in their caption. That's a waste of your time too, right? I think there's really a fine balance. So knowing what you're posting, why you're posting it, how it's moving the needle in your business, planning it out, if that's weekly, if that's monthly, whatever works best for you. So that's the first thing I recommend for people, having that clear plan. The other thing is using the instant reply feature in direct messages. So if you listen to this and you're like, okay, I'm going to start using more direct messages, I'm going to start asking for DMs, I'm going to start having conversations. If you're like me, your cute little chubby thumbs are going to get real tired really quickly of responding to all these DMs on your phone. So instant replies are built in. I think everyone should have them. Y'all, at the same time, Instagram is finicky sometimes. So I may have a feature that you may not have. You may have a feature that I may not have. But most people have instant replies, and it's simply a text replacement feature built into Instagram where you can create these messages, and then you just create a short code and you type it into your direct messages, and it populates with that full and complete direct message. So I have so many of these set up. When I get, when someone direct messages me who's a new follower or who's just connecting for the first time, I have a code set up, and I think I type the word hi and it populates a message. I have one built in when people ask me how they can work with me, and I type in the word free and it pops up this whole message that I can send that sends them all my free resources. And you can do this too if you're maybe doing a call to action of saying, today only we're giving away a free class, or we're giving away a 1-week trial for our facility. Send us a DM to get it. And all you would do is have, type in the word free, and it would populate the entire message that would tell them what to do or what website to go to sign up, or what the next step would be for them to access their free trial or free class. So lots of things you can do with that, but that's a great way just to save yourself some thumb energy and some typing, is using those instant replies.
In your world of Instagram, I'm sure you've seen 1 or 2 mistakes being made, but tell us, what's the biggest mistake that you have seen being made on Instagram?
Yeah, I think honestly, the biggest one I see is people waiting or thinking that they need to wait until they have 10,000 followers or the swipe up or anything like that to start actively promoting. And then because they're waiting, they're relying way too much on the link in their bio. I see people do this a lot. They'll either post in their feed or they'll post on their stories, and they'll say, go to the link in my bio to learn more. Go to the link in my bio to read that post. Go to the link in my bio to watch my YouTube video. Go to the link in my bio to listen to my episode, or get your whatever. And I get it. That feels like the right thing to do. But I want to ask people to think really hard about, first of all, the last time that you were so compelled to go to someone's link in their bio to do something. I would imagine that you would find it's probably not as often as you hope your followers are compelled to take action. And then the other thing is to think about how big of an ask that is. You're asking people to take a lot of steps. And if you're using a tool like Linktree, or you're using a landing page where you have multiple options from Instagram, you're asking people to leave your story, to go to your profile, tap on the link, then tap on an additional link to get to the thing. You're just asking a lot of people. And I think we really have to recognize that Instagram is not a traffic driving platform. It was never designed designed to be a traffic driving platform. That's why they make it so dang hard to send people off of the platform, because Mark Zuckerberg can't keep raking in his millions and billions of dollars if you're not on his platforms, right? Mm-hmm. So they want you on Instagram. So Instagram makes it really difficult to leave the platform. So as business owners, as brands, as marketers, that is an incredible opportunity for us to, instead of trying to always send people off of the platform, to bring as much of our content onto the platform as possible, keep our conversations on the platform, and not rely so heavily on the link in bio. And also not waiting until you get 10,000 followers, or the worst thing you can do is buying the 10,000 followers to get the swipe up, just so you can try and send people off the platform. Because I have the swipe up, and I'll promise you, it ain't that great. Because when people are on Instagram, they're on Instagram to be on Instagram. So I would encourage folks to use direct messages so much more often than they're relying on the swipe up with a link in bio. And don't wait until you get the swipe up to start getting people to your product or to opt in or whatever that may be. You can do virtually all of that through direct messages starting today.
Wow, that is huge, Tyler, I've got to say. So I want to just quickly touch back on something that you said earlier to increase that kind of interaction and engagement through our stories, because you mentioned using those great buttons that exist, like the questions button and the quiz and the polls and stuff like that, because to me that feels like such an awesome way to interact with your audience and get to know your audience and get them doing something that is relating to you and relating to your stories. So that whole idea of just getting them used to kind of clicking something on the screen, answering something, and then hopefully get into that habit of direct messaging you or reaching out to direct message you makes so much sense. So thank you. That is very, very interesting, and I think something that will interest a lot of our listeners out there today. So there is no doubt that I could talk to you for hours about this stuff, but your time is very precious, and I'm aware of that. So we are going to wrap things up with Fitbispiration today, Tyler. And tell us what your top 3 steps are to overhauling our Instagram strategy. Okay, team, we're about to hear this week's Fitbispiration from Tyler, but first, here's a message from our friends at Loud Rumor.
Advertising is not expensive. Obscurity is. Being unknown in your own community. And for just $99 a month, you can put an end to all of that. Loud Rumor has worked with over 1,500 fitness studios all over the world. And for only $99, we'll teach you step by step how to run ad campaigns like some of the largest fitness franchises on the planet. To learn more and get a bunch of sample training videos, go to loudrumorvt.com. Again, that's loudrumorvt.com.
Now back to Tyler, where he's going to share his top 3 steps to overhauling your Instagram strategy.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so first thing is sit down, set a timer for 20 minutes, and write about your ideal follower. Write about, not just, I want you to go deep here too, not just those basic things that you may have said before. Like, for a lot of people, it's, oh, well, she's a mom of 2, she's 35, she goes to Starbucks every morning. Like that's my ideal follower. That's my ideal customer. No, I want you to think even more. I want you to go deep. So what is it about Starbucks that she loves? If she goes to Starbucks every morning, why is it that she goes to Starbucks every morning? Is it because she loves the habit? Is it because she likes the routine? Is it because she loves her order? Is it because she's treating herself? Is it because it's consistent? Is it because it's her only free 30 minutes of the day, like free of her children and her business and her crazy life or whatever that may be? Get really clear. And here's the thing, your ideal person better than anyone because you're spending time with them, either training them one-on-one, they're coming into your facility, whatever that may be. You know who this person is. So get really clear. Just write all about who this person is. And think about how that needs to influence your content, right? So that would be the first thing I would encourage you to do. The next thing is go through your feed right now and look at all the content that is not speaking to that ideal person and that is not moving the needle forward in your business. Anything that you've posted in the past because you felt like you should post it out of obligation, because you saw a competitor do it, because you had a coach tell you to post it, whatever that may be, archive all of that content. It's not serving you. It's not helping you in your business. And then the next thing I would encourage you to do is to then take that ideal follower persona, that's what we call it in our community, that you've created and you've worked on, You've gotten rid of all of that content that's not speaking to that person, and then sit down and create just you can do it in a spreadsheet, you can do it pen and paper, whatever it may be. But I want you to have 3 separate columns, and these 3 columns are going to be your 3 content themes, your 3 content buckets, and you're going to come up with ideas for each of those content themes or buckets. So take, for example, maybe a yoga studio. So you could have an entire content theme, an entire content bucket around yoga. What is yoga? Why do you practice yoga? Yoga tips, yoga at home, whatever that may be. You could have an entire content theme around mental health, mental well-being, right? And then you can start infusing content into that, how yoga is an extension of your mental well-being, how yoga can help you be more calm, how it can treat your stress or anxiety, whatever that may be. You can have a whole bucket of content around mental health. And then you can have a whole bucket of content around either you as an instructor or your team of instructors or your facility that is all about the culture and the community of your particular facility or studio. And that's where you're going to infuse content like introducing instructors, highlighting your current members or students, sharing updates about the facility, whatever those things may be. And then once you have those 3, you can have 4, but that's the most, 3 to 4 different themes or buckets of content. Just start brain dumping out post ideas that fit within each of those themes. And I promise you, creating content this way for that ideal person, it makes creating content easier. It makes coming up with posts so much easier, and it makes your content a heck of a lot more effective.
Tyler, I could not love all of that more. That is just phenomenal. And the content bucket. So I'm anyone that knows me knows that I'm a whiteboarder. So I'm drawing little buckets on my whiteboard as you're speaking. I just love the simplicity of that model, because you talked earlier about the oh shoot, I've got to post something today, and you kind of panic and grab something from your camera roll or, go and take a photo of the dog or something like that, and I just love the strategy and the planning and the idea and the simplicity of those content buckets, because it's something that we can all do right away. We are experts in our own field, and linking it back to that avatar or that persona, as you talk about, just making sure that it completely and utterly aligns with what that person wants to hear, is really going to help us with our strategy and our forward planning. So this has been immensely valuable, Tyler. I feel like I'm just having a little fan moment at the moment, having you on the show. It's just been phenomenal. And tell us, Tyler, for anyone that is hearing you for the very first time and they want to get to know you better, they want to know more about Tyler J. McCall and how they can interact with you. Tell everyone just a little bit about how they can reach out, how they can connect with you, and how they can engage with you.
Yes. So Instagram is, of course, the best place for us to hang out. So you can find me over there at Tyler J. McCall. I'd love to hear from you. Share that you're listening right now. Put a screenshot up on stories. Make sure you tag us so I can hang out with you on Instagram, or send me a direct message with any questions you have about today's conversation. And then the other place where I'd love for you to check out is tylerjmccall.com/free. And that's going to be a free Instagram training that I have available. So you can sign up for that. It's available on demand. So you pick a time that works for you. It's a little over an hour long. So get your notebook ready, turn off your phone, put your computer on do not disturb mode, and sit down and just focus in for that about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to walk you through my complete Instagram marketing strategy. We go really deep on some of the topics we discussed today, and also tell you more about the Follower to Fan Society in that class as well.
Absolutely amazing, Tyler. And we're going to put both of those links in today's show notes. So a massive thank you from myself, from all of the FBP family. Thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Are you interested in increasing your center's income and your trainer's income from small group training? Tribe Team Training is the new way to get more members engaged in small group training and paying extra. Click the Tribe Team Training link in the show notes, or go to tribeteamtraining.com.au/podcast for your free formula to see how much income you can make from small group training.
Precore Quickfire 5.
This week's Precore Quickfire 5 guest is PT Performance Coach Chris Mooney. Hey, Chris, welcome along. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thanks, Chantel. Thanks for having me.
So we are going to get started with the pre-call Quick Fire 5. So tell us, why do you do what you do?
I do what I do to try and influence a better result for personal trainers that have entered into the industry. It seems to be a bit of support and guidance missing from the current model. So yeah, the idea is why I do what I do is to help PTs to succeed in their first 12 months and then beyond.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
Oh, honestly, data, understanding the data, tracking things and making sure that the effort is going in the right places at the right times.
Great answer. And are there any apps or systems that you use to stay in control of your workload?
Unfortunately not. I'm a pen and paper guy, and it's something that I've tried a few different apps, and I just haven't been able to find one that works for me or one that I've been able to work for it. So at the moment, no, I'm pretty much pen and paper guy, and the calendar app that goes with your Outlook.
There is nothing wrong with old school pen and paper. I like it myself. And tell us, are there any books, podcasts, or blogs that you would recommend and why?
Yeah, I mean, I've only just in the last 3 years got into the space with the blogs and the podcasts, etc. There's quite a few. I mean, I listen to a bunch of different ones for different purposes, but for the personal trainer, anything that's going to help them understand how to work through their own limitations. There's plenty of good ones out there for practical application of workout and exercises and stuff like this. But for what I feel most PTs will benefit the most from, and it's something that helped me, is ones that will help you understand why you're not achieving the things you want to achieve and some good ways to get past those blockages.
Do you want to name any names? Are there any that spring to mind that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, one that I do like a lot is called the MF CEO Project. It's run by a gentleman named Andy Frisella. One more recently I got referred to is called Mind Pump. It's another good one. And then the practical aspect ones, then, good old Joe DeFranco's The Strength Project is another. There's three to get into to start with.
That's great. Thank you so much for those, Chris. And give everyone just a bit of an idea about the main topic that we're going to be focusing on during your interview.
The topic we're on today is more about the how to become a successful personal trainer in a commercial gym setting. Anywhere where you're a subcontractor, where you're paying a rent to operate your business from someone else's facility.
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited to dive into that topic with you, Chris. So thank you for joining us today for the Pre-Call Quick Fire 5.
No dramas. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for joining me for this week's show. Of course, a reminder that all the resources and the links for today's episode can all be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. I would like to thank our foundation partner, Active Management. And as a listener of the show, you have a special opportunity to work with JT. You can get one free session when you buy one coaching session. No matter where you are in the world, technology allows him to work with you. Go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family and work with JT to get more people moving and moving more often. That's one free session when you buy one coaching session. Just go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family. I hope you loved this week's episode as much as I did. Thank you so much to every single one of you for joining me today. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.